Welcome everybody to the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. If you'd like to catch a live show, our next live show is June 16th at the Rec Room in Huntington Beach. And after that, we have a show June 19th at Malo in Silver Lake. For more information on these shows or any of our future live shows, please check out our website, comedypopupla.com. All right, let's start the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. I am Sean Grant. I'm subbing in today for the normal host, who is Ron G., one of the greats, one of my mentors, but he's not here today. But I'm taking over and here with a couple amazing guests. One of them is originally from New York. He actually he co-founded the Harvard.
I invented comedy.
He invented comedy. No,
I mean, there were no jokes. There were riddles and puns, and I said, no, there's a better way.
No, he's actually the co-founder of the Harvard Sucks, which is Harvard Stand-Up Comics Society.
Yes.
And also my other guest is Amarie Lee. She's originally from Miami.
Yes.
Just killing on social media, man. Give it up for these guys, man.
Yes,
We need a round of
yes.
applause for them, Paulie. And also Paulie on sound today. How you doing, Paul?
Yeah, I'm chilling. I'm here in the corner. I actually gave myself a microphone this time.
There you go.
See, when Ron's not here, that allows me to grab a microphone.
Oh, Ron doesn't play that
Slide on.
shit?
No, I'm just sure.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't play that shit if Ron don't play it. God damn it. Shut your ass up, Paul. But how are you guys doing? What's up, Amarie? What's up, Harrison? What's up, guys?
Just hanging,
Just
hanging,
chilling, huh?
Staying hydrated. I just finished my podcast for the culture. Sorry, I had to plug that in there.
Oh, you
real
got
quick.
to.
But
Hell
we're in the
yeah.
same network, so that was
For the culture, man. You're
matter.
3 months in.
They know.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
you and Nick Carthen, right?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Well,
You-
we just talk a lot of shit about different things.
yeah, I love that. And Harrison, so you live in LA now? Or I know you
No,
started.
I'm back and forth all the
Back
time.
and forth.
So I'm on the road now for 20 days straight.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm in LA until Friday. Then I fly out to San Francisco
Right.
Saturday, Sunday. Then I'm at the Magic Castle
Right.
from June 11th to the 17th.
That's
Then a
amazing.
few more spots in LA. Then back to New York. Then back. It's a lot of back and forth.
I know. You were just in Australia, is that right?
Yeah, December and
that?
January.
How
It was
was-
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my second time there. It's crazy.
Was it the what's that festival called? The
No, we were
Melbourne?
actually, there's the Melbourne International Comedy Festival,
Right,
which I'm fingers crossed hopefully doing next year.
Gotcha,
Because I would
okay.
love to go back.
Yeah.
But I did a show called The Illusionists, which was like the biggest selling magic show in history. They toured. They put me up
so
in
dope.
Perth, Australia. And then a few months later, they're like, we're going to try this other thing where instead of it being 7 magicians, it'll be a group of variety performers. So you
Yeah.
can really lean on the stand-up. So do stand-up with a little bit of magic as opposed to, a magic show where it's got to be magic heavy.
Yeah.
So I was the host of a show called The Unbelievables.
Yeah.
And we did the Sydney Opera House for like 21 shows.
That's dope,
Which was
man.
crazy. We did Melbourne and then Perth.
Oh,
And Tamworth.
sick,
We started
man.
in Tamworth for 2 days. That's the Australian country music capital.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I
It's
didn't
always
know that
scary
was
when
a-
you're like, what's the best thing to do in town? They're like, we have a giant guitar you can take pictures with. And you're like, oh no.
Oh dang! I didn't know that country music. So like our country music, like American, like
No,
from Nashville.
it's theirs. When you bring up American country music, they get very angry.
What?
Because they're like, we have our own, even though it sounds the exact same. But like Keith Urban is an Australian country music guy.
Oh, Keith Urban's from. Oh,
He's
from-
Australian, yeah.
I had no idea. That's a see you learning stuff, man. That's
Yeah.
what's up. Have you done any?
Magic shows? No.
No.
Maybe in the bedroom.
no,
There is.
No, I was gonna say.
It just takes 9 months, but it's incredible.
Yes. Wow.
But no, I feel like you've done something international, right? I know you from You started Miami.
I started in Miami.
You're out here.
Well, we started in Miami, Sean. Together.
Yeah.
You
well,
were.
no, I'm older than you.
You were the veteran. You're still the veteran.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
No, it's good. It's good. But yeah,
Yeah.
I've been to Cuba, if that's considered.
You done comedy in
international.
Cuba?
For my family.
Oh, that's what's up. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You go back a lot more now that the the embargo's been lifted.
I
We
haven't
can fly
gone
there?
since I was like 15 years old. For my quinceañera.
Oh.
Yeah, and so after that, I haven't gone back, but I want to go back, and
Yeah.
eventually we'll see what happens. I heard that Trump is having something where you can't go back for.
Oh,
It's dicey, I think. Although if you
Yeah.
can film a Fast and the Furious sequel there, you should be able to do anything.
Right.
That's true, and they have a lot of
so.
music videos and stuff out there. But yeah,
That's dope, man. So, all right, let me ask you, Harrison, what prompted you to co-found the Harvard Stand-Up Comic Society? When you
Yeah,
did?
I was always doing magic as a kid since I was 5, and then
Right.
in college, my frat brother was like, "Hey, I do this stand-up show once a year. Do you want to come on and do it? You do some magic. I know you're funny when you do magic."
Right.
And I was like, "You know what? Do you mind if I try stand-up? Like, I've never done it."
Yeah.
So I sat at my computer, and I think I still have the file like buried somewhere in my computer. Just like me, like I'm gonna write the best jokes right away.
Right.
And I just sat there, and I just remember walking out on stage, and it was like. There was that moment where you're like, oh, I've been adjacent to this by doing like comedy magic, but like I didn't get the real hit until I did pure stand up. And from that point, I was addicted. And then I interned for Mad Magazine that summer.
That's right.
And so I just really became comedy obsessed. And I realized one show a year was not going to cut it on campus. Like I couldn't. I was like, why shouldn't we just have like a club?
Yeah.
So we originally called it the Harvard Stand Up Comic Society, and I submitted it to the dean's office to get official approval.
Yeah.
And I got an email being like, this name is not acceptable. I was like, oh shit. Like they figured it out. We never wrote the acronym, but I was like, there's no way we're going to sneak this by them.
Oh, yeah.
They call me in and they go, well, you're an undergraduate organization, so you need to be the Harvard College Stand-Up Comic Society. And I was like, fuck, Harvard College sucks. I'm done. That's easy. Cool. I'll change it right away, sir. And it wasn't until later when we applied for sweatshirts that just said Harvard College sucks that they realized what we were doing.
The fuck? Yeah, dude, that's so dope, man. I mean, so from doing that, like, being that you went to Harvard, and you majored in English and was it?
I was a psych major with an English minor. Yeah.
Do you find that other comics like, or even like comedic crowds, when they find out that information, that do they look at you differently? Is the expectation weird?
I usually don't share it. I usually don't talk about it much on stage. I have like one joke where I go, like if something is going weird, I'll be like, oh, I went to Harvard and now I'm doing this, so they pretty much cancel each other out. It's like being straight and being stuck with this voice.
Gotcha.
So like I'll casually mention it in that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I wrote my thesis on stand-up. Like I used Chris Rock's, it was a psych study. So we literally played Chris Rock's stand-up to Harvard undergraduates and measured whether it increased or decreased their racism.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, because he was talking about race stuff. So we're like, can humor be used to you know, increase tolerance?
Oh, so and how did you measure that? Like, how did you measure whether the class's racism went down?
Well, it was a little bit more technical, but basically you do this thing called an IAT, which is an implicit attitude test. So you can measure whether people are sort of implicitly racist.
Oh, damn!
And you can go online and do it. It's pretty crazy. And you find that ours was obviously concentrated on race, and we focused white, black because that was the easiest for the IAT. But you find that even the black students are still biased a little bit against black, which is crazy because it's a black-white test. Right. It's a binary test.
Right.
But we basically started with the assertion that like most Harvard students were basically not that racist. Like overall, their average, compared to the average population, they're less racist. So we can assume that if they're more or less around a similar sort of bell curve of racism, that if we showed two different clips and the students who saw the Chris Rock talk about race versus Chris Rock talking about, like we had him talking about fat people.
Right.
If the race one if those IET results were vastly different than the fat ones, then it was something about the clip that changed it. It wasn't because we randomly picked which group would listen to what. So if the population is overall similar, but somehow the only difference was that clip, then the clip was changing their opinions.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
And so I wonder, was it just his content or the fact, like, would listening to a female comedian or like, would that bring down misogyny in that, or you think?
Well, so that was the idea. Was I mean, the idea was looking at different kinds of humor, and I sort of created this thing called the humor function grid.
Right. Okay.
And so the idea is you look at the comic.
Jesus Christ, you're fucking smart, man.
Oh, I mean, I got basically Harvard gave me all this money to give pizza to students.
And
to
the
listen
study,
to stand
like, how many people did this study? Like on average, like what was
I think we hit like 100 students. It was like basically a preliminary thing. If we wanted to do like publish it in a like a actual like psych, official psych study, we need more people.
Right.
But the idea was to create a model that it could be women and men, it could be handicapped, not handicapped, it could be it could be anything.
Yeah.
But it was the comic, the audience, and the target. So like, is it a female comic talking about women in front of men? Is it a male comic talking about females in front of females?
Gotcha.
And so each one of those is a different kind of humor, and I focused on what's called self-affirming humor, which was the sort of least studied of it, which is when the comic and the target are the same. So in this case, it was Chris Rock talking about black people, so it's black, but the audience was white.
Right.
Because we were like, can we change their minds? And we found that it's self-affirming in the sense that the people who already leaned a little bit racist actually got more racist.
Oh.
And the people who were less racist got even less racist. And that jives with what like Chris Rock and Chappelle had both found, which is the reason they stopped doing his show and he stopped doing that bit. Was because he found that people were taking it the wrong way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because when you criticize, like if a female comic criticizes women, the people who are misogynistic are like, yeah, see, look, women do suck. Even the females know that.
I got you.
Whereas the other women, the people who are actually not misogynist, listen to it and go, yeah, they're not representative. That's not actually
right.
So you can look at that humor in two different ways.
I see.
It's like a bias towards it. That's crazy.
See. Do you notice that? Like, have you seen any female comedians who you feel like don't represent females well or properly? Amarie, I'm asking.
Well, honestly, most of the female comics out here in LA, I've only been here for like 3 years. I've noticed that they do talk a lot about like their single life, but they don't really talk shit within their gender about anything that I've seen it specifically.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, for the most part, that's what I've seen. I don't.
Yeah.
They're not too.
What about your comedy? How do you think about that? Like, is that
me personally? My comedy has nothing to do with anything as far as that sense. It has to do with my family, my crazy family. Like, my comedy is very specific. Like, no one could steal my comedy in the sense that my life, the craziness behind it, that's what I talk about.
Okay, yeah.
And that's what I gear towards. And then so my comedy is more
Smash
like
cut. I'm in the comedy club. I'm just like, so as a Cuban Japanese woman.
Yeah.
They're just like, what?
Yeah. Talking about my mom steals. I talk about my mom stealing in my comedy. My brother is in prison and he thinks he's the man. Like, it's just very specific things that you're like, really?
Yeah, got you.
That I kind of go for.
I like that. Yeah, because I mean, I was doing I do improv as well, and I was doing a workshop at the Groundlings, and the teacher told the girl, like the females in the class, she was also a woman. I'm not gonna say her name, but very good improviser. But she put this pressure on the women, like stop being submissive to the men in the scenes, like because women, it could just be her or that.
Oh, kind of like that dandy, like so yeah, guys.
Oh yeah, because they would watch the guy do space work and then they'd support it. Which if I'm a man and I do that in a scene, that's a good improviser.
Yeah.
But a woman does it and it's labeled as stop doing. So she has to think. She has to be in her head. It almost made me feel bad. Like, Jesus, I just get to do improv.
I know a lot of girls
and you
who
have to think, am I being submissive?
They have to think before they say something. They have to be like, well, am I going to come off as a bitch? Or am I going to come off... Me personally, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
I don't care. Like, I couldn't imagine. Because for me, it comes from a good place. Like, I don't have bias towards anybody. Like, I just talk about my story and I try to make people laugh.
Have either of you been stepped to by other comedians for like either going into a place where you should, I don't know about mansplaining with you, you know what I mean, Harrison? Or like with you,
I've made a bunch of, I've done shows where I made Jewish jokes. I'm Jewish. And somebody who's Jewish comes up to me and is like, that's not really helping our cause. And you're like, first of all, that makes it sound like there's some secret society. Well, the cabal has met. And I don't know if you see our monthly secret newsletter, but but it's that weird thing where like, I want to be able to make fun of how Jewy my family can be.
Right. Okay.
And then they go, well, we shouldn't be promoting these stereotypes. And I'm like, well, I'm talking about my family. So
exactly.
And some of them are cheap. So
Hispanic steal.
I'm not going to not talk about it.
Yeah, Hispanic steal. And I talk about my mom stealing. And then I've had some people like, but you say you're Latina and that's a stereotype. I'm like, dude, this is my family.
Right.
Like your Jewish family does what they do. Like PC. People are so PC. What are you going to do?
With that, like, do you guys, so recently, obviously, Roseanne lost her show because of something she said on Twitter. I imagine she thought it, because it was a comment on another thread. So maybe she didn't think people would see it, but they did, and she lost her show.
Does that feel slightly worse? Like if you lose your job because of a tweet, it's one thing, but a subtweet,
right?
My God,
right? Yeah.
Did you guys see the ambient thing? Like she,
why
are you even responded? Like,
why is she responding to sub tweets? Like I don't. You're Roseanne. You have millions of followers. You shouldn't have time to read the comments.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh my God.
She's older too. The technology. She's probably like.
Yeah, she probably had no idea.
There's a verified tab. You can click one thing where you only have to respond to people who are verified. I don't want to sound like a dick, but like if you have 3 followers, I'm probably not going to respond to you.
Right.
Nobody. That means your sister and your wife want to follow you, and one random nobody wants to listen to you.
I saw a picture of the lady. She looks mixed, but I mean, it's Roseanne. I mean, I don't know.
Plus, she has a history of that.
Exactly. Did you guys see the picture with the cookies? that
The
she
Hitler
had-
picture.
Yeah,
She's dressed
That's
like
a real
Hitler
picture?
That's a real picture. That wasn't
Oh
photoshopped.
my
Yeah.
God.
little Jew cookies in the oven.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is before because I've
Way
seen that
before they
picture
gave
for
her
a
the
while.
show, and that picture was way out there.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And they
I
gave
know.
her the show. Exactly.
Yeah.
Which says more about the network.
So are you saying,
than her.
because I was on Last Comic Standing when she was a judge and she was the most positive about me. So should I take that out of my reel? Is that going to be, is her saying I love you bad now? Is that what we're all saying?
She said that?
She's like, I love you. You're my favorite. Maybe I shouldn't have that on my reel. Is that why I'm not getting work the last couple of weeks?
That's the old Roseanne. The old Roseanne.
I should have a disclaimer. This is not an endorsement of her views.
Oh man, dude, that's right.
Yeah.
You were on the same season with Clayton, right? Were you
Yeah,
with Clayton?
yeah.
Oh, I just saw
I've been
Clayton.
eliminated from many reality television shows. I'm very good at it.
Was the overall experience good though? Like on the show?
It depends on the show. I mean, I think Last Comic was a little bit easier than America's Got Talent in the sense that it was designed for you to do stand-up.
Gotcha.
And everybody else you're hanging out with is another comedian, so you know mostly everybody. And
Right.
America's Got Talent, you're in a dressing room with like a child ballerina and a stripper in a T-Rex suit and,
Right.
you know, the gay men's choir, literally the entire San Francisco gay men's choir.
Right.
Takes up a lot of room.
Right.
And you're just, so you're like, they're not specifically geared towards comedy. So it's a little bit more of a challenge. And the audience isn't there they're there to see anything.
Yeah.
So you might have to I followed the T-Rex stripper. That was a real thing.
That's funny.
And then the second time I did it, I can't remember who I followed. It was I think it was some like soulful teenager with a keyboard.
Geez, so wait, does it run like a show, or are there like long breaks, like with a warm up guy? Like, how does the actual? So is the crowd cold when you get in front of them?
The second set, the warm up comic had like gone home and they'd been there for like 8 hours, and then they're like, and
so
now
the
do stand up.
Oh my God, the crowd was there for 8 hours.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh
They're
yeah.
tired.
That's
They're super
horrible.
tired. Yeah.
Jeez, man.
The first round there was in the Pasadena Civic Center, which is like a beautiful auditorium, and so they were pumped.
Right.
And they were really like keeping the crowd revved, and they had that great mix of like acts, and that show went really late. Like they called me in at 8 a.m. I think, and I didn't get to perform until 11 p.m.
Oh my God.
I had like a migraine, so I watching that set afterwards was like an out of body thing because I basically couldn't remember what it until I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, that is what I did.
Jeez. Yeah.
Wow.
Man, and you only have 60 seconds to flip the whole situation.
It's supposed to be 60, but Last Comic Standing, they were like, you have 3.5 minutes and we will cut your mic. Like that was part of the competition was we will cut you off if you go over your time.
Right.
Whereas America's Got Talent, they were a little bit more like, finish your set. I mean, if it's going too long, we'll cut you off, but like, we're not going to just kill your mic and start playing you off.
Right.
After the T-Rex stripper. Wow.
Yeah.
What is that?
I was heartbroken for her because like you could tell as she was getting ready, like this is an act that they want to X. Like clearly this girl's walking out to be X, and she really thought she was gonna win. Like she was 100% convinced. She's like, I canceled all these things to be here. I could have done this and
Jesus
this. And
Christ.
she's a professional
so
pole
mean.
dancer. Like that, she does competitive pole dancing.
Oh.
And she really thought like that adding the humor was gonna be the special sauce that like puts her over.
Baby.
And so I felt horrible for this lady. I had to see her in the hotel afterwards, and I was like,
Did she put like a plant on the stripper pole to make it seem more like jungle-y? Like
no, she was just in one of those blow up T-Rex things with like pasties. Like she had little heart pasties over her T-Rex nipples.
She's like,
Damn.
wow.
Oh yeah,
my
she went
God,
out
dude.
and then it was rough.
That's crazy, man. Hey, so with you, I know you popped since you came out here, you were at like 10,000 Instagram followers or something.
I
right?
was not.
Where were you at? Like you were
500.
you're at 500 when
Yeah.
you came to LA?
Yeah.
And now you're what, like 200,000 or
No,
100?
just over 100,000. But
Jesus,
I just,
how did you do that?
just doing Instagram videos.
Yeah.
Wow.
But like you guys have
I
a
was
team.
nonstop for like a year, and then I kind of slowed down. now.
Yeah. It was
I was like my cutoff point was 100,000. That was like my
your goal.
And then I was like, all right, cool. Now focus more on my stand up.
Would you say? Yeah, I was gonna ask
my
you.
acting and all that?
What's
all
the
that
difference
jazz?
between those grinds? Would you say? I mean, I know because from watching you and our friend Andrew Batchelor and some other people, because I know you would do stuff with Tony Baker, all these guys. I know that's its own work, like it's different from stand up. So,
Yeah.
what would you say is comparative to those things, or completely different in those grinds?
Well, completely different, obviously, when you get on stage. It's not the same as doing comedy with a video and someone's watching a funny video. Like,
Right,
this is
right.
raw stuff when you get on stage.
Very low.
The audience, a different energy, just being a stand-up, you guys know. But for me personally, how it intertwined was like, I would think of a funny video and I'd do it and then I'd be like, oh, wow, I could actually use this as a premise for my stand-up. Or I'll use a premise of my stand-up and I'll be like, oh, well, this could actually be a cool little Instagram video.
Right.
And I kind of like
It would feed each
correlated
other.
the two. Yeah.
So how does that go? Like with you saying, okay, I have a goal of 100,000, right? Just for people like who might be listening, like young comics who want to have a goal like that. Do
I
you
did
say
it every day for a year.
Oh, dang! And
Every day for a year, I would post videos, or every other day.
at certain times was that a strategy?
No, that was before algorithms. That was before views. That was just me getting 3 likes and posting another video. Gung ho, like I'm gonna keep doing this.
Damn.
And then eventually it started to, and then I started collaborating with other people who did
Right.
it, who were in low numbers as well. Like Jahan Jones, I used to do a bunch of videos with
Before
him.
he
He
did
started
the
with
man.
1,000 when I was like 500. I think he
Oh,
had like
gee.
5,000. I take that back. But we all started together. He's over 1 million now. And
Right.
he makes money off of Instagram. But
Right.
it's the consistency. Like if that's something that you like and you want to do it and you want to go out there and get those followers and make some money on the side, or you do stand up and you want to put both of them together, I mean, it's a good thing. But you gotta like to do it. And for me,
Yeah.
I was out here by myself. I just drove out here from Miami, and I was just like creatively.
Yeah.
It helped me through my first year, my first hump of being out here in LA.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's what's up.
So
That's
anybody
crazy, man.
listening, just you gotta enjoy doing it, and then just be consistent.
Right.
And then the numbers will, if you have good quality things, the numbers will eventually start to pile up. Yeah.
How about you on social media, Harrison? Do you?
I have,
are
like,
you on that good?
She was describing like he started with 5,000, and now I was like, I still have the 5,000.
Oh, that's great.
Working
Nothing wrong
on
with
it.
that. Hey, me too, brother. Hey.
Yeah. It's weird. I have that love-hate relationship with social media where like my main art form is stand-up. I like doing the jokes on stage in front of an audience.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I try to tweet as much as possible, and now Instagram, and it's that weird. Yeah, I also am a perfectionist, so like when I put a tweet out or even a photo and like a
crazy.
caption, I'll spend like 20 minutes like perfecting the wording of that joke, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is holding me back. Because I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna post it. Who cares?
Exactly.
That gives a consistency, and more so than like, all right, I'm gonna wait 3 days to publish this tweet because I'm gonna perfect the exact wording of it.
You want the beats right?
No, yeah,
and
I've
all
deleted
that.
a lot of my videos from when I first started. I was like, what the fuck was I thinking? What was wrong with me?
Right.
But yeah, like you said, it's a perfectionist. I'm the same way as well. Like
Yeah.
as far as perfectionist, I want things to look a certain way, and it's a little bit more difficult
Yeah, man. That's
to
a
do
grind.
that. Yeah, it's a grind, but it's fun.
That's dope, man.
Yeah, it's
let me
a good
ask
time.
you with in that same vein, like you doing magic and stand up, Harrison. What would you say is the main difference in those crowds, or is there one?
Yeah, big differences.
Yeah.
I mean, the stand-up is a lot more mainstream. Magic, although it's kind of trending, and then you see a lot more of magic on TV with shows like AGT. Magic is like, there's a very specific like magic nerd who will seek out anything with magic in the title and will come see you. And like, so I go to magic conventions. I wrote a column for a year for Genie magazine, which is now the only national like magic magazine.
Yeah.
And the column was called "You Are All Terrible." So every month they would open up this magazine to be my smiling face, and it's a big banner that says "You Are All Terrible." Because the funny thing is like stand up, I think they had the idea of art right. In that like you have an idea and then you work really hard and you get the audience feedback. Figure out how to make it funnier until it's consistently good.
Gotcha, yeah.
And in magic, sometimes they go into a magic store, they just buy the thing, and it comes with a DVD that tells you exactly how to do it, the
Right.
jokes to say, the script. You're just like a
Right.
magic robot, just doing the thing that somebody else wrote and created and invented. And then, the thing that frustrates me, it's like one thing to be a cover band, but they're cover bands that act like they're John Lennon, or like the Beatles cover band, like they act like they are the artist.
Got you.
Because other non-magicians are like, wow, I assume if you're not telling me otherwise, you invented that trick. And they're just cover bands.
Damn.
So there's almost every magician's a cover band. Whereas in stand-up, I don't think they're even, it would be very weird to have, maybe Gallagher 2 was the only like cover band in
stand-up.
comedy. There's also no karaoke in comedy either. There's no like, you go to a place and you just like do a Chris Rock joke.
Right. Would you say like
I'm gonna make that though. I'm gonna commercialize that.
That's
That would
actually
be fun.
fun
That's
for
dope.
people who are too afraid to do stand up, but they're funny.
You put it on the screen and they just have to tell jokes to like the crowd at a
Entice
Korean
them
bar.
to
That's a great idea,
inspire
man.
them to.
But you got to do Bernie Mac's voice while you do it.
Yeah.
Put the milk and cook it. You got to do it like it can like actually gauge that. That's dope, man. That's good. So would you say like Like, how do you stand out as a magician? Like, what's the difference? I was about
That's
to ask
actually
you.
easier for me. Like,
Really?
there's so many comedians and there's so many good comedians. In magic, the fact that every joke that I say on stage as a magician is a joke that I wrote and worked on, and the fact that I create all of my own stuff,
Well, that's
puts
outside,
me
yeah.
ahead of 99% of most magicians, like immediately.
Yeah,
So when they see me on stage, I call myself a stand-up comedy magician when I do magic.
God, yeah.
I think I'm the only. Maybe there's a handful of guys. If you, I can headline a club without as a comedian.
Right.
Yeah, I don't need Matt. I could just do stand-up. I'm a stand-up comedian first and foremost. I don't know of any other comedy magicians who, if you took all their props away, could just entertain for an hour.
Yeah.
They need that. They need those tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're in your own little realm. That's dope.
Yeah,
So I've tried. I sort of created my own little space, which is fun.
Right.
But stand-up is my. They're both my loves. Like when I do a lot of stand-up, I'm like, man, I can't wait to do magic. When I do a lot of magic, I'm like, I can't wait to do stand-up. So I go back and forth.
Damn, with both of you guys being so busy, what's your love lives like? Let me start with you, Amarie. Like,
Oh, it's great. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there somebody like specific?
Yeah.
Oh, dope.
Something special.
Yeah.
Just a little cheerleader on the side.
Are
right
they
there.
also a comic? The person? I mean, you don't have to say no. You know,
No. Yeah.
Would you and you prefer not to date any like us? Because
That's a good question. I mean, it depends. I've had both sides. It all depends on the person. So I wouldn't totally say it's a cutoff point because I'm not really that
Right.
black and white when it comes to things.
yeah.
But right now,
they just happen not to
yeah.
be. That's what's up. What about you, Harrison?
Oh, I've been single for way too long.
Oh, yeah.
I've been single for the last my entire life, and yeah, I've dated a lot.
Right.
I try. My weirdest that I started telling this on stage because it was it's a story that's so weird. I feel like sometimes I have to figure out how to connect it. But I went on a first date a couple years ago, and we just bought on the first date non-refundable tickets to St. Lucia. Because you were both like, we never go on vacations, and we're drunk. We're like, let's just buy tickets. And then a month from that day, we had to go on this vacation together. And like, I'm just a mess. Is the bottom line. I'm just a freaking mess.
No, you're expanding. You're just trying things out.
Yeah.
That's what dating, being single is all about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. So, do you think it's the life you live, or is it just you as a person? Like,
I think it's both. I think it's a combination of being difficult and then in a difficult career.
right to have
Yeah.
that. What about you, Paulie? You over there?
Paulie.
What happened?
What happened?
As he like texts his dick pic to some lady. Is that what's
I know.
happening?
Well,
Dick pic being sent out?
Snapchat.
teach Paul about the fuck boy.
Yeah, we have
Fuckboy thing.
a episode of the show coming out where
Of Amarie show?
I broke up with my girl a couple months ago. So now I'm writing a bit where I want to be a fuckboy.
What
I want
is
to
that?
be.
Giving him all the criterias of being a fuck.
I think Amarie has a better definition for what a fuckboy
a
is.
fuckboy, as I understand it. I'm from an old
Like
school.
the
hood.
3 a.m. text, like what up, big head, and like,
Oh.
you up.
That just
You
it
up.
used to just mean like a punk ass dude. Like
Right.
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
like it's not
That's what it
desirable
is.
to be a fuckboy.
right, but now
no,
it's like,
but now I'm striving to be one.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Because it's not desirable.
so that's
Yeah.
a dude that girls want to have sex with is a fuckboy.
No, I don't think girls
no.
No.
Like the dudes that are like, the whole if you shoot 100 shots like full court, you'll maybe make one.
So you're just a high volume,
Like a shotgun approach.
Got you.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They just try to have sex with lots of women.
So yeah, it's not like you up one girl. It's like you up 20 girls. Hence, fuckboy.
Right.
Yeah.
My dad used to tell a story about his friend. This predates the term fuckboy. But I feel like every group had a friend.
Right.
And he would like literally walk up to girls in a bar and be like, would you like to have sex tonight? And like he would get slapped and he would. And this is, by the way, this is the 70s. This is pre-Me Too and all this stuff. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
But like he was like, let's go fuck. And one out of like 100, even if it's one out of 1,000 times, the girl would be like, you know what? Cool, let's
You
do
know
it.
what? Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And,
just
like,
broke up with my guy. Let's just
do it. And so for him, that was for that guy, that was his method.
Right.
He was a fuckboy before fuckboys. He was a
Yeah.
trendsetter.
Yo,
Hipster.
Because I'm like, when I see dudes doing shit like that, I'm like, it has to work at some point. You know what I mean? If you're like, what's up, bitch? I'm like, they could say, what's up, bitch? Or like, I'm like, he couldn't just, that had to work at some point. Otherwise, he'd stop. He'd have
They have a roster.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Somebody had to respond to that.
As long as they call it a roster, not a stable. I've heard somebody say my stable. I'm like, they're not your fucking
No.
horses.
Right.
They're
That's
thoroughbreds.
The roster, the stable.
Yeah, this is my
That's what
stable.
Iceberg
Oh.
Slim calls them in the book, in Pimp. They're called a stable.
Yeah.
It's a
Stable?
stable of whores.
I just want to send those messages though. Like that dress would look great on you, but it'd look even better on my floor.
I think
Like,
you should be careful, man. Like it's the Me Too time, man.
It
Stop that shit, man. Have one
It hasn't
woman
started.
I mean,
and behave yourself.
I mean, but if they get the you up text and they respond, shame on them.
right.
Because you're responding.
My grandma was an
at 3 a.m.,
English
you
teacher,
up?
though, so I'm like, "Are you awake, ma'am?" So it's a different response.
Oh, just see that
Polite.
little slight verbiage.
Yeah.
Informal. I send the
Sorry to interrupt your slumber.
slide in the DMs of like female comics. I send the you up text at like 10 a.m. I'm like, they won't be up for sure. You up.
Shit. No, stay away from that, man. Hell no.
I send it at like 6 p.m. Like, you up? And they're like, you fucking know you are.
Dude, one dude got blasted the other day. I don't remember his name. In fact, I don't want to get his name wrong, but he was some girl on Facebook was like, oh, this dude keeps sending me dick pics. And like, he was a comedian, she was also a comedian, and yeah,
The
it just
unsolicited
blasted
dick pic
him.
is unacceptable.
He was like, I remember that was a move, man.
What did he do?
He just sent a dick pic, and she was like, "It was I didn't want
And he
that."
just blasted it
yeah,
up.
and he tried to defend himself, like, "Oh, you were, on the thread, like you were kind of sending me signals," and then they were going through this war where they were screenshotting each other's, like, so you could see where he thought maybe she liked him, and she's like, "No, but look at the time in between,"
Yeah.
and you see like it's days that she's not responding to him.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, oh man, this is bad, and I don't have nothing to do
His
with
dick
this
was
thread.
getting bigger or smaller as the days passed by.
I'm like, damn, I've never did that move, but
That's savagery.
yeah, back in the day, that was you just tried something, and no, man, don't try that shit no more. Stop that.
It's never been acceptable to send an unsolicited dick
Dick pic,
pic,
no,
pre
no,
or post Me Too.
Yeah, I'm just.
It's almost
that
not
brave.
acceptable to send a dick pic, period.
Yeah.
Let alone one that has not been asked for.
Right? Yeah,
That's why I got out of Snapchat, and all my DMs would be like,
Just
dick,
dicks.
dick, weed, money, dick, weed, money,
Oh.
in that order.
But they do this. So I don't have Snapchat. They send it directly to you.
Yeah, it's just weird. I'm not on Snapchat anymore. I couldn't do it. I'm like,
Did
I'm
the
not.
old timey people used to do it, like in the 1800s, where they sending like sketches and wood engravings of their dicks, like by pigeon or messenger?
Drawing of weed plant, and that's
throwing gold coins at women.
causing concussions. Man, that's what's up, man. Like, dang, yeah, be careful out here, Paulie. That's all.
Sending letters that say, "Have you been awake for 3 weeks?" Because of how long this letter has taken to travel.
My favorite ever was this dude slid in this chick's DMs and it was like, yo, like, what's good? And she's like, what did she say? Like, I'm 14 or something like that. No. And this is the best.
Jesus Christ.
So then
out.
the next message is, yo, what's up? What's good? Exactly 4 years later.
Oh,
That is very
That is
that's crazy.
It exists. That's some
that is
patience.
persistence.
My
Damn.
God.
Got to set a reminder on your
That's
phone.
horrible.
For that one.
He watched her go through high school and
Yeah.
waited for that day.
Yeah.
He probably
Yeah.
just kept looking at his phone like, oh, no, not
Isn't
yet.
that weird,
Put it
though?
on his calendar.
Like, I'm 31, and once in a while I'll be flirting with somebody who's like 24 or 25. Like, I think that's the lower end of my age range at this point,
Right.
maybe 23.
Right.
But like, for me, I got Facebook when I was in college, and like Harvard was where Facebook started. So I was the first high school student to ever, like the first class of seniors in high school who, once we got in, we were allowed to sign into Facebook.
Right.
So I was still in high school while I had Facebook, but it was like the senior year.
Right.
They didn't even have Facebook profile pictures
That
at
was
that
the
point.
Facebook,
It was
right?
the Facebook.
There you
Facebook.
go.
And you would upload your class schedule because it was really like oriented towards school and stuff.
Right.
So like my pictures, if you go way back in Facebook, I think at best you can see maybe a couple of awkward college photos if you're lucky. But if you're a 24-year-old girl, you can drill down to like awkward
Right.
middle school and high school.
Damn.
And that's
Yeah.
crazy. Like, how do you even...
a whole archive of
Because
shame.
they're just
and-
born into technology. I always
Yeah.
think about that because I'm 30.
But you can
I'm
fuck a girl where
32.
you can drill down to like
Yeah.
and see them when they were
And
like
see
in middle
them,
school
yeah.
graduation. Like, that's not...
Yeah.
That just feels wrong.
Yeah, man. It's your whole life is chronicled.
And they're used to it, especially the 21, 22. That's all they know. So
Damn.
it's just kind of weird because I didn't go through social media in high school either.
And you could see them get either hot or less hot. You're like, wow,
Right.
you were a mess in
Yeah.
middle school,
Like,
but
why-
now you're so hot.
Yeah, because I think this should kill the idea of a high school reunion or any kind of. Why
I just
have
had
a-
my 10-year college reunion, and it
But
was
that
literally
felt
people
silly,
telling
right?
my Facebook post back to me.
right.
Like I know
They're
what
like,
you're
oh, you did
doing.
this, this, and this. Yes, I did.
Yeah, and that was the whole thing. I think
We
they
don't
could've-
need to see each other. We all know what we're doing.
Or the way
had
ones you
babies.
want to
I
see.
know what you eat.
Yeah, you can just
college reunion, the 10-year college reunion in particular, is a lot of running into people and being like, "Oh, that's your husband. Cool. I used to finger your wife." Like, it's a lot of like running into people you hooked up with in college and then seeing their now husband and child and being like, "Good for you."
Oh my goodness.
Remember when we both had sex on a twin XL and then slept on it? And we were gonna.
You don't even say anything. You just give each other that look, like, yeah, we did it. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we definitely grinded to Journey.
Oh man, dude, have you?
Grinding is not a thing anymore, right? That's
No,
gone.
but I'm with it. I know what you mean. Yeah, but new generation.
We say grinding
nothing.
like at a dance, like you,
Remember, you would like, this was the worst.
grinding.
You would go up behind a girl she'd be facing away from you.
Yeah.
And you would start dancing. You were both facing the same direction.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
don't
And you
do
were
that.
literally like grinding. I mean, obviously you don't do it now, but that was like the thing
That was
for
the
a
thing.
long time.
I
It's
never did.
horrifying.
grinding, booty dancing.
You would do the grinding, and then she would look at her friend who could see you, and then she
Yeah.
would give a subtle signal either to escape or to continue.
It was
Yeah.
so funny. I heard a comedian.
Oh my God, it's awful.
Dude, this dude was doing a joke about that like the other day about like, oh, back in my day, but it was like one of those jokes where it's like euphoric, like, oh, it's so much easier to approach a woman. Like he started like now it's hard because you can't even say hi and a woman's offended. But back in my day, you just put your dick right up on her butt,
She'll
and
look
I was
back.
like,
Yeah,
it's
she'll look back.
I like
She's
his
like,
perspective was the opposite of what it should have been. Like,
Right,
wow,
'cause I
we've
was-
actually come a long way. And he's
Exactly,
like, it
'cause I
was
was like,
much
it
better
must have
when you
been
could just grab a
horrible.
cave woman by her
Right.
hair and drag her back. And
That was his whole. I was like, yo, from a different point of view, that's like it was terrible to be a woman in the '90s. Like you had to wait for your girlfriend to help you get out of this.
Yeah, we
you
got
had to go with a
objectified and all
group.
that.
My question is, but what would happen when you would pop a boner if you were like grinding on them?
No, they made a whole
That was
song
part
about
of it.
that.
Yeah.
I feel a little poke coming through. You know,
On you.
I'm a baby.
Now,
I'm sorry.
girl, I know you felt it. You know that song?
Yeah. No.
Oh shit. Yeah.
And literally, the girl's experience would be like, she turned back. Oh, he cute. Okay. That would be-
right.
And if he wasn't cute, then her friend would come and be like, we gotta go to the bathroom.
Even if he was erect, like you wouldn't be offended by. I mean, because what are you gonna do? That's just what it was.
I mean, that's what it was. It was just more like
Jeez.
raw, raunchy in your face.
Yeah, it's like normally I gotta pay for this dance, but you're giving it to me for free.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yikes, man.
Weird times.
We're in a better. I don't know. I think yeah.
it's like
think
middle
we're-
school dances we were grinding. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
crazy.
We had Uncle Luke. Come
Uncle
on.
Luke, hell yeah. You grew up in New York.
Yeah.
Right, Harrison? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. What were you guys listening to? That must DMX.
I was on Long Island, and I was a musical theater nerd, so my music was not the pop. But I remember I threw a party it was at our house, and I was like, I'm gonna buy cassettes so we could have the bumping music at my party. And I bought 2 cassettes. It was Spice World. And
Yes.
Big Willie Style. It was the Will Smith one that had Miami on it.
Yeah, that was big. Big
Those were the
Willie
2 big
style.
purchases.
Damn.
Said.
Big Willie Style and Spice World. And because they're cassettes, you can only have one or the other. You couldn't like
Right.
intermix them. So the party was
Back
either
on the
Spice
thing.
Girls or Big Willie Style, back and forth.
Dang. That was as a person from Miami, are you offended by that representation of Miami from Will Smith?
No.
That didn't feel like Miami to me. I was offended.
When welcome to Miami.
Bienvenidos a Miami.
I
Party in the
was-
city with the heat. That was a South
Damn,
Beach
I gotta
anthem.
go back
It's
and
not-
think about that. I was in, I think, middle school or high school when that came out.
Yeah. I was just like,
The music video or what? The lyrics?
Is it lit?
'Cause Will Smith is really
Like,
clean.
who's this guy? You don't rep Miami.
Yeah.
You from fucking Philly. Get out of here.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I
He was trying to get the
offended.
Miami girls with that song.
Right.
And then he did Wild Wild West.
Was that also on Big Willie?
bombed.
Oh,
I think that was after. It was a terrible film, but like not a bad song.
yeah, no, he had some good anthems. Even Men in Black was a cool.
Have you guys
song.
seen him on Instagram?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Men in Black was good too.
That was good.
Yeah, he's coming back. He's killing Instagram.
He's killing it. He's so
He's like a motivational
entertaining.
speaker.
Yeah. And then like all the edits he has, have you seen them? Like the video edits he does is
Yeah.
just
yeah,
Will Smith
yeah, yeah.
killing it.
Killing it, man. He just did a song with his with Jaden or whatever. With his that's his son, right? Yeah, with his youngest son or something.
Yeah,
like
he
that.
has
Still coming back and rap. Very underrated rapper, man. I like your
Yeah.
choices. What were your other eclectic choices in music? You were
And then
jazz?
I shifted to CDs,
yeah.
and I had Green Day. That was a popular CD that I played. I think it was Nimrod.
No, okay.
The Brian Seltzer Orchestra I had on cassette.
Did you have the This Is Now? We were
Oh
talking
yeah, I had a bunch of those nows. Now that's what I call music.
No, that's what I call music.
Oh yeah, and we did the bar mitzvah party circuit when I was 13, and like the really popular DJs for the bar mitzvahs would give out free like their own like not off-brand nows.
Yeah.
Basically all the music they were playing at the party. So I'm sure I have those somewhere with like Mambo No. 5 on it. A lot of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and all that
Damn,
shit. And Weird Al, that was my jam. I knew all the popular songs, but never the right words.
Right.
Like I still can't sing Gangsta's Paradise, but I can sing Amish Paradise.
Yeah.
So when that song comes on, I'm singing the wrong words entirely. Everyone's just like, this is my jam. I put it on. There's like a jukebox.
Yeah.
And I put on Amish Paradise specifically.
Yeah.
And there was like this bachelorette party, and they were like, oh my God, they were so excited that Coolio was on.
Is it the same beat?
It's the exact same song,
Yeah, it's
except
a
just
song,
like as I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain, and it's like very Amish lyrics. And they started listening to it, and they were so upset they all walked out of the bar. I walked a bachelorette party with that song choice.
Damn, dude.
Amish Paradise. I've never heard.
never heard of
I'm
it?
gonna
It's
go on
so
YouTube.
good.
I'm gonna go
He had
check it
some
out.
other good one. He had what was his first one?
I mean,
It
he
was
had to eat it instead of
Eat It
beat
Instead of
it.
Beat
I
It.
remember. Yeah, I remember that one.
He's still doing his thing, right? Weird Al's
Oh
back.
yeah,
Yeah.
always killing it.
I think like that's a cool thing about comedy. Like you don't really just go away. Like you might not be as popular as you were, but you're somewhere. Like everybody's
Yeah.
somewhere.
I think it would be hard
doing
now to
something.
be Weird Al because like he came before like parody. Like now everybody on the internet, there's 17 parodies the second.
immediately.
I mean, this is America. How many parodies came out like within a half hour? You know,
Right.
so it's like, but because he had that space and he's Weird Al. Like I think we all. And he wrote his original music was great too.
Yeah,
and his
yeah,
concerts are insane. They're he does like a costume change every number. He puts on the fat suit for Eat It Still.
Oh man,
He did all the Star Wars stuff instead of.
Yeah.
Oh man.
dude. Speaking, I know you brought up This Is America. What would you guys think of that? Maybe when got to me, it was a little overhyped. Like I was, people were like, I thought it was like Thriller again. I thought it was like this video is gonna change the world. It was good, but like it was so hyped to me. I don't know. Maybe that kills things for me now. What do you guys think of it?
What?
This Is America. The Donald
I mean,
Glover?
I like what you talking about, the music video or the song, because the song is great. I love the song.
Yeah, I mean, I guess both are how it reflects culture. I don't know, like its statement. What
It's
do you think?
it's really in your face, but it's what's going on right now. Yeah, it's what's going on right now. The message I got from it was like they're dancing, and then there's a bunch of violence and other things in the background. So we're kind of like
We just move past it so quickly.
we're being what's the word? We're being distracted by what's really going on because of social media. Like 1 week there's a fucking shooting, and then the next week, I don't know, Kim Kardashian is meeting the president, and then everybody thinks it's hilarious. Like it's like. So the dancing aspect of the video just shows like everything is going on, but we're still like, man, nothing's happening. So that's what I got off of it. It's doing really well on YouTube, but him shooting the choir, that's another thing that happened. He was shedding light on a lot of things that has been going on, which is good, but I don't know. I mean, it's I can't say, oh my God, this was an amazing music video, because it's just like real stuff.
It was cool. It was
So
important.
it's like,
I like the video almost more than the song. Like, I heard the song on the radio yesterday, and I was like, it's a good song.
Yeah.
But that video, that first time where he shoots the guy and you don't see it coming, that's powerful
it's
stuff.
powerful stuff. It's really like, man.
Was it one shot? I don't know.
No, I mean, they give it the illusion for some of it that they're longer shots, but it's definitely
Okay.
and there's some cuts.
Yeah. You can see it between when he goes into the different rooms. Okay.
And there's like that get out scene at the end where it's like he's in the sunken place almost, and he's running.
Right.
He's running from the cops.
Dang.
It's crazy.
Yeah, man. It was. I enjoy. I just like things just get so hyped nowadays, man. Like it's hard to enjoy something when they're like before it gets to you. It's so hard to live up to the thing that is like even Black Panther did for me. Like I was really hyped when it got to me, and I still loved it. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Black Panther was good. The CGI was terrible.
Was it? I wouldn't.
That took me out of it. I loved the movie so much. I was like, how did you rush that part? Like, it looked like a PlayStation had generated the graphics.
Oh,
Like they had that final fight scene, they're falling through the air, and it's like basically 16-bit. Like you're like, what?
Really?
Dang, that's so cool that you can see that though. I mean, like
If you watch it again, now you know. You'll see
Yeah, I'm
that.
gonna see it
Their
now.
models aren't even like moving. Like,
Wow.
it looks terrible. And for such a great movie, it's like a shame.
Oh,
What was their
man.
budget on that?
There's this weird thing now where movies used to not get released they would finish the movie and then be like, okay, now when are we going to release it?
Yeah.
Now, like that Black Panther release date was in stone. They had to release it. And there's so many special effects shots that there's a million different special effects houses responsible for different scenes. So like whatever team had that shot or whatever was probably really rushed and over budget.
And you caught it immediately? Like you just
It was a
like-
big thing. Like when the trailer came out, people were like, "Oh, this must be pre-movie because now they'll put special effects in the trailers that aren't done, and then by the time you get to the movie, they fix them, and that happens a lot. So everybody assumed that like some of the graphics in the Black Panther trailer were just like holds, just like, and then when they appeared unedited in the film, we're like, "Oh no!"
Oh damn! Man.
There's a lot. There's a whole article if you search out about how all these Marvel movies. Marvel's a little bit better, but most of these superhero movies, all these big special effects movies,
Right.
because they have thousands of more special effects shots than older movies, are just like they're fucking up some of these They're rushing them really fast.
Oh wow! Damn, man.
Or that really bad green screen. Like look at Justice League. Holy shit!
Oh yeah. I just
When they took out his mustache and it looks like somebody stuck their mouth through a magazine that had Henry Cavill's face on it.
People are going to get fired.
yeah, man. Oh yeah, you're blowing up the spot, man. Damn,
Yeah, those
man.
DC movies don't hold a candle to the Marvel movies.
And it's a shame. I was such a comic book nerd. Like I still have a file cabinet in my parents' house where I had every issue of Superman like in order.
Dang.
With a little file. So I was like a Superman Batman kid all the way.
Right.
I was like, don't show me your Marvel shit. Like I'm
It was
a
like that.
but like now it's like I think I like Marvel more. It hurts me to say it in a
Yeah.
way. Like at least in the movies. Like
Yeah.
Mad Magazine, all that stuff is DC. And so like I will always hold the torch for DC.
Right.
And they do stuff right. Like I still watch The Flash on the CW.
Right.
So does Nick. Nick from For the Culture, the
Yeah.
host for the
Yeah.
he's a big.
Nick and I
he's
used to
big
talk
on
about it
that.
all the time. We were at this comedy club, and that was always, I was like, dude, did you see this thing? He's like, of course I saw this thing.
Oh man, dude. So you said, wait, Mad is a part of DC?
Warner Brothers is like the big it's Time Warner, which owns Warner Brothers, which
Yeah.
owns DC and Mad.
What was that process? So for people who might want to go that route as well, like that's another route for like writing for a magazine like
Yeah.
Mad. Like, how did you get hired on that job, and how what's the rigmarole, the day to day, week to week process of keeping that job?
I took a total shot in the dark because I was like, I love Mad Magazine. My dad grew up on it, and my
Yeah.
grandma's house would have a box filled with old Mad magazines. And I did not understand any of the jokes because they were about like 70s television shows and politics,
Yeah.
but I still loved it. I just saw that there's an internship on their website. So I was like, I'm going to send my resume and just say, hey, I really love to work for you guys.
Yeah.
And I got it and I freaked out. And that was just like 6 weeks straight where it's basically comedy writing boot camp because the usual gang of idiots, all the writers are standing over you, like helping you and fixing things. And you'll submit stuff and they'll be like, well, this is why we didn't like it. Fix this, this, and this.
Damn.
And the goal was by the end to try to at least sell a couple of pieces because they still pay by the page.
Right.
So you can still, I think Mad, I know the New York office did. They're in LA. They just moved.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're keeping most of the traditions alive. One of the traditions was anybody can submit. And we eventually would get to it. Like as an intern, I would go through piles of like, I remember we helped kind of write and rewrite. Some guy had been submitting like every week for like 20 years. And it was, and they were finally like, let's just give him something. Like, is there anything? And he had some premise that was workable. So like the interns and I helped him come up with other examples so that we could flesh it out and do it.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
they'll actually read it if you submit it. That used to be in the LA version. I'm not 100% sure, but like for stuff like that, even the New Yorker, you could submit to the New Yorker. Like Shouts and Murmurs, I think still takes submissions and that kind of stuff. So most of these magazines are relatively open to just like, hey, here's some specs. Let me know what you think.
Right.
awesome.
Is that field? Do you feel like being affected by the internet in any way?
Oh, it's tough. There's like very few. I mean, Mad's been through a lot of changes. They used to be monthly.
Right.
Now I think there's 6 a year.
Oh.
They worked quarterly for a hot second, which was terrifying.
Right.
So it's the print industry itself is pretty scary.
Right. Damn, man. Did you ever read Matt growing up, Amarie?
What's the little kid with the big ears, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Alfred
man, that
Newman.
was the
What
saddest.
do you worry?
Monroe. What's his name? What was it?
Alfred E. Newman.
Alfred E. Newman.
Yeah.
Who was? I thought there was a kid named Monroe in the book.
There was Monroe with the little things behind his head.
Behind his head.
That was a
yeah.
very 90s
Where his
Mad thing.
mom was like a prostitute. Like she was really like on
Yeah,
drugs.
like covered in pimples and
And
like
she would have
lived in a
sex with
trailer.
like his friends. It was
Yeah,
like
she was
horrible.
She was disgusting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Now that you bring that up, That was horrifying.
Yeah, I remember like this. Like, damn, dude, this
He
kid's
was like
life.
abused, basically.
He made me feel good about my life. Like he got me through middle school. This kid.
A lot of stuff was like, you guys remember Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
That was.
And I would watch it all. That cartoon is horrifying.
Yeah.
It is disgusting.
They weren't paying attention. Our parents weren't paying attention.
No,
to
they
it.
just didn't care.
There was a lot of adult jokes that went way over our heads.
Yeah.
That now when you see, you're like, holy shit.
This is why it came out the way it came out.
There
It was seeping in there.
Do you know the Animaniacs thing? Like I saw
Yeah.
Yes.
with the fingerprints.
Yeah.
With the
So Animaniacs does a joke where they're doing detectives, and she literally like goes off screen and brings on a cartoon version of Prince the musician,
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
and then he goes, "No, I said fingerprints,"
Finger.
and you're like, "Holy shit!"
Right. Wow. Damn,
see that
dude.
one.
They had like the nurse, like, hello, nurse.
Hello,
With the big,
nurse.
With the big, she had big breasts, right? It was
Oh,
like
yeah.
a big breasted nurse.
Yeah.
It was, that was,
That Blink 182 album, though. Remember that album cover? That got me through some times.
wait, what was on that album cover?
It was the nurse pulling the glove, and she was super hot.
Oh.
There was no porn back then.
Oh, so that's what you guys are.
All CD covers. You're like, why won't the CD case open? Resealed. Doesn't happen, man.
It was hard to open a CD. That's going to be our, like, it was 20 miles to walk in the snow to school.
Right.
Yeah, it was hard to open up a CD. That packaging.
Oh, dude! I got real excited and I broke 400 Degrees Juvenile. Like, 'cause I
no. You broke the whole
trying to rip
plastic?
it. Yeah, well, I was like trying to, and then I cracked the like case or whatever. I was like, damn.
Cut yourself.
Yeah, it's like glass. It's plexi. Yeah, it's hard ass plastic. Slice me and shit. Man, dude. So what do you guys got coming up? What's going on with you, Amarie? Like,
Well, Laugh Tracks, the show.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
We're gonna start shooting in July, so
you're on like every episode of that.
well,
thing,
they
right?
got me for two main characters on this one. So I'm just excited. It's in 3 weeks.
So you're doing
We're
the
gonna-
acting part. So the people are doing stand up and then you're playing
Yeah.
whoever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. That's dope.
And
man.
Sean was on it too.
Oh yeah, they took
Awesome.
Yeah, they took one of the jokes that yeah, it was dope, man. It was a really cool experience. And they did what I love about it is they add subtext. I thought it would just be like a retelling of the joke in sketch.
Yeah.
But they add things that you can't say as a for rhythm purposes. Like I couldn't put the subtext of the guy sitting next to me at the bus stop while I got robbed, but he added so much more to the joke. Like, well, the dude using a machete to rob me, being from Miami. I was like, oh, that's so cool how they actually have a writing team sitting there adding detail to the joke that I can't say all of that because your
Yeah.
joke would lose rhythm putting too much detail, but that's really cool how that shows.
Yeah, they bring it. They bring it to life, and also they're bringing a lot of comics who've been in the industry for a very long time,
Yeah.
and giving them a platform to just
It's amazing.
see their stuff. So I'm excited. It's an extension of season 1.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're trying to save money, whatever.
Right,
But hopefully, they'll get season 2 and keep that train rolling.
Yeah,
get more money and
the
get.
fact that they like use the same, like you guys, it's like a cast pretty much.
Yeah,
like
they
of the
just
actors.
use us like either featured extras or main characters. Or I've worked production with them. Like I've pretty much it's like a little Laugh Tracks family.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, and you're at the Magic Castle. Ugh.
I'm at the Magic Castle June 11th to 17th, but help me get as many followers as my co-guest
I would definitely
at Harrison Comedy for Instagram and Twitter.
Send me your stuff. I'll definitely promote it. I've never seen Comedy Magic and it's super cool. Like
There you go.
I wanna go check it out too. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, that's dope, man. Well, look, it was so great having you guys on. What do you got going on, Paulie?
Yeah, I got a big show coming up June 20th. I get to throw my birthday show.
Ooh, how old are you going to be?
Turning 25. I know.
Oh my God.
I know I look ancient.
It's a baby.
Yeah. But it's a dope show. It's happening in Pomona, which is where I'm from, which is
Yeah.
like 25 miles east of LA.
Sick.
Yeah, I guess I could announce the lineup since it'll already be announced by then.
Hell
But
yeah.
well, just a couple of the names that are on there. But my boy Big Liam's gonna be there. It's hosted by my homie Ezekiel Echeverria. But we managed to get Kurt Metzger on the show. Annie
hell
Letterman's
yeah.
gonna be there, and hopefully Sean G. If Sean G's
Hey,
available,
absolutely.
Yo,
man.
I got to give it up to Sean G. Sean G. So the room that I have out there is kind of tough. It's like a weird setup and everything, and especially the night that you perform. Because I brought some of my homies, and let's just say they didn't have the best sets of their life, right? So it's kind of rough room. Sean destroyed
Nice.
the room,
Aw,
man.
yeah,
I saw
man.
people.
That's how you can tell a good comic. Like, if it's a hot room, killing is like it's the guy who comes into a room that sucked and fucking kills it. That's that's what separates the good from the great.
Oh yeah. I mean, to this day, the guy who runs the venue always asks me about you.
Oh,
and he was just
dang.
like, he's like, yeah, man, keep bringing comics like that. And I was
Wow,
like,
nice.
there are no comics like Sean G.
Yeah.
So it's dope. So thanks. So if you guys want to catch that show, just follow me on social media. I'm at the Paul Antonio on everything, and Facebook.com/Paul Antonio Comedy. I've finally got my Facebook up. So if you guys could go
sick.
give that a like,
Hell
that'd be
yeah.
dope. And then everything with Comedy Pop Up, check out comedypopupla.com and at Comedy Pop Up on social media, and at CPU Podcast for every podcast on the Comedy Pop Up Network.
That's dope, man. Okay, real quick, I'm at Sean Grant Pictures on Instagram, at Sean Grant Words on Twitter, and I also host a weekly podcast called the Welcome to Cuckoo Town podcast. It's a narrative improv where we bring on a comedian or improviser, and we just do a sitcom based on a character they bring on the show. So
Oh, that's cool.
That's very cool.
That's dope.
yeah, absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah, man. So yeah, give it a listen. I'd love to have you guys on if you ever feel like you want to get on there and do some character work and
Yeah.
shit.
I'll bring my Maria character.
Oh, I love that
Jane,
character.
this is very nice.
Yeah. Oh,
I do cuckoo town all day.
Yeah, yeah. you don't do you did that's your.
I was gonna do the exact same character. Damn it.
I'm sorry, I beat you to it.
Oh man, Amarie, did you plug your Instagram? I'm sorry, on here.
Oh, yeah, Amarie Lee _comedy on Instagram. And yeah.
And For the Culture, check out For the
And
Culture.
For the Culture Live, we drop in an episode tomorrow, every Thursday. So you guys got to check that out. Too.
Right. Oh, tomorrow would be next Tuesday.
every Thursday.
Whatever. Yeah, every Thursday.
This comes out on
Coming
Mondays,
Thursday,
but-
damn it.
In a couple
Whenever.
days. It'll be out.
It'll be
Yeah,
out, damn it. Well, look, man, thank you guys so much for joining me. Harrison Greenbaum, Amarie Lee, Paul Antonio. We have been the Comedy Pop-Up Podcast. Keep listening, guys. We love you.